I'll take my mask off because it fogs up my glasses and I can't see a thing. We have two great feasts dedicated to our Blessed Mother during the season of Advent. The first is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. We just celebrated that on the 8th. And today, the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And both feasts are put together, tell us a lot about Mary's role in salvation history and therefore our role, because we share in the role of Mary in bringing to light, bringing to birth Christ into the world. And because of that, both of these great feasts have the same gospel passage, the story of the Annunciation of the angel Gabriel coming to Mary and announcing to her that she was to bear the Son of God. The Feast of the Immaculate Conception is a celebration of Mary, who is born with the grace of having no original sin. Now, original sin is a very difficult thing to define. However, we can see in our world the effects of original sin pretty much everywhere we go. The effects of original sin are racism, that I think is the scourge of our society right now, and it's such a huge thing that we are dealing with and need to deal with as both as individuals and as a society. The sin of poverty and violence. All these things that, you know, we're kind of born into. We don't have a direct effect on, they're not particularly our fault, but they become our fault if we do nothing about them. So those are effects of original sin. Well, Mary is to be born without original sin, that grace given to her because she was to bear the cause of the salvation from original sin. So we have that wonderful feast of the Immaculate Conception. Now, we might think Mary was very lucky to not be born with original sin. However, it was her choice. So her choice to bear the Son of God. She was the one who said yes. And as that model and witness, she becomes a model to us for our own Christian lives. Mary becomes the Christ bearer and shows us how we should be Christ bearers as well. Today's feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, Mary becomes the evangelist of the New World. Mary's apparition to Juan Diego over a series of times, and then the apparition that becomes part of the tilma that is on display in Mexico City, and you might be aware that we have a tiny piece of the tilma in our cathedral in Los Angeles. It's the only piece outside of Mexico. Actually, if it had happened today, they could never have, the Bishop of Mexico could never have given something that's considered the treasure of the nation. It would be kind of like us, for Americans, if we'd cut a piece out of the Constitution and sent it to another country, it'd be really worse than that. We're so blessed to have that piece, even though it's very small. If those of you who've seen it in the cathedral, it's about the size of smaller than your fingertip. However, it's a reminder to us of that work of Mary, Mary who continues to evangelize and lead people to her Son. So Mary, who becomes a model for us, reminds us of what we are in our world today. Evangelists evangelizers who bring and lead people to her Son, always leading people to her Son, Jesus. Today, we celebrate in Mary's honor, and yet Mary gives all the honor to her Son, Jesus, and recognizing that today we will approach the altar where her Son becomes present in his body and his blood that we share in the Eucharist. Jesus, whose presence is shared through our reading of Scripture, and we take that those words, we become those words, and we share those words with the world. So with Mary, we ask God for guidance, that we might be those holy witnesses, holy models, as she was for our world.